Hazbin Hotel, a show made by VivziePop that has seen great praise and valid criticism, particularly the character design kind of criticism. The red, the skinny body types, the edgies 2000s vibes in every character, the red, the bow ties for every male character, and the red. So much red. And all of this doesn't make the show bad in any way. I personally like all the characters and the charm of the show, and I cannot wait for season 2. VivziePop has made an entertaining show, and I appreciate all the work she had to do in order to get to this point in her career. Although I don't support or associate with any of the controversies she's been involved with, I can't help but to imagine what these characters would look like if I had designed them with my personal preferences and my style. That's what I'm doing. My version of the Hazbin Hotel cast. A disclaimer. I am far from being a professional character designer. I'm just doing this for fun. I love all of the original designs, and I'm just trying to add my little alternate universe for the designs. Also, these designs might not be particularly animator friendly. I had a little help from my friend, who is far more into this show than I am, and he reviewed the designs and gave me some opinions and criticisms. His favorite design was Angel Dust, by the way. Anyway, just a shout out to him. Thank you for your help. And let's get into it. Starting off with Charlie, the Princess of Hell, daughter of Lucifer and Lilith. She's the very cheery, hopeful protagonist of the show who's trying to start a hotel to redeem sinners. I really love her design, but it's kind of boring compared to the other characters. So I tried to amplify that a little bit. She's supposed to be based on dolls and marionettes, as well as goats. So I wanted to add more goat features into her design. I gave her more noticeable hooves and goat legs, kind of like a satyr, as well as horns. I also tried to give her a subtle pear body shape. In the show, Charlie wears her dad's suit, and since she is taller than her dad, I made the suit jacket more ill-fitting. And I gave her different separate pants, because wearing pants that are too small would probably be very uncomfortable. I brought back her black pants from the pilot design. I also gave her a name tag because she owns the hotel. I thought it was cute. I also changed her hair from her bubbly ponytail to a low ponytail that is slightly shorter than her normal hair. Not much left to say. I added stripes to her suit and the lower bit of her undershirt just to push the smaller jacket vibe a bit more. I also adjusted the colors to be a bit darker because that's just what I prefer. I did this with most of the characters. So, that's my version of Charlie. It's pretty close to her design in the show, but I really liked the changes I made. Vaggie, Charlie's supportive girlfriend who works at the hotel. She is also one of the angels who comes down to hell for the yearly extermination. At least she was until she decided to save a child, and then she got banished from heaven and got her eye torn out. I just think her design is a tad unfitting, so I tried to add my own spin on it. I tried to give her more of a curvier body shape. I know some people might say, "Oh, but Adam has a type. That's why they're all skinny." Honestly, I do not care. She is a beautiful, bodacious bombshell babe. Anyway, other than the body type, I tried to give her a bit more muscle. I'm not exactly sure if it comes off properly because the designs aren't fully rendered, but I tried. I also tried to give her more of a bellhop uniform, because in the show it looks like she's wearing a uniform for the hotel. I added gold into her design because I thought it would serve as a good accent, as well as alluding to her angelic past. I also gave her chunky combat boots because I thought she would want to be ready to fight, as well as fingerless gloves for more of the fighting, aggressive vibes. Her hair, I kept it its classic shape, but lowered the bow down a bit, so it's more of a half up, half down thing. I know she used to have short hair, and personally, when my hair grows out a bit more and it's long enough to touch my neck, I don't like it bothering me, so I figured she probably wouldn't like it either, and so I put it up. I also took the stripes out of her hair and turned it into more of a gradient. I kept the bow, the X over her eye, and her general vibe. I also added her spear in her design, and in the spear there's a golden eye that I added. Like angels and watching and eyes and angels. That is my version of Vaggie. I feel like the darker colors of her outfit and the light colors of her hair provides good contrast, and she looks like she could and would beat me up. Overall, I personally really like it. Next up is Angel Dust. Angel Dust came from an Italian mob family, and he died sometime in the 1940s after overdosing. Once he died, he started working for Valentino, cutting ties with his family's mob-related activities. I like Angel Dust's normal design, but I don't think it really fits the era and the style of which he died in. I think the spider inspiration could also be pushed a bit more. I tried to keep his thin body shape and his overall extra vibes. Also, can we take a moment and appreciate the body sketch? I am very proud of that. I also wanted to add extra limbs, but I couldn't figure out how to pose them exactly with all of his clothes, mixed with the very over-the-top pose I gave him. My headcanon is that he keeps them around his waist, holding his chest and stuff. I also added the little fang things that spiders have, but on the sides of his head, as well as a pair of blatant extra eyes. I love the freckle idea that they went with in the show, but I think it would be cooler if he just had an extra pair of eyes. I looked at images of drag from the era he died in, since I know he does drag, canonically in the show. I saw a lot of feather boas and, like, fur, hoods. So I gave him a feather boa. Obviously, I went extra with the pose, but I feel like in his typical stance, it would be one of those scarf things. For his jacket, I looked up mobsters of the era, and there was a general coat style that all of the pictures had, so I just took that. I made his coat hang from a single button because I figured it would give room for his arms to move. It also conveniently gives a bit more mass in the back, which kind of looks like a spider's abdomen. Along with his coat, I gave him a necktie. The era seemed to have a lot more neckties versus the bow tie he has in the show, so I gave him one. He also has a black bodysuit underneath with fishnets, as well as knee-high heeled boots. I just thought they suited him, and they were cute. I also gave him bright pink painted nails. I kind of styled them the way they do with Marina's nails in Splatoon. I thought it was a cute little detail. I really liked how his design turned out. I think it perfectly encaptures the character that he is. I just really like it. Lastly, there is Alastor, the radio man himself. One of the most iconic designs in the show. Alastor was a serial killer and a radio host who died sometime in the 1930s. And from what I'm aware of, he died in an incident in which a hunter mistook him for a deer and shot him in the woods. Alastor is supposedly mixed-race Creole, but I don't really see that come through in his design much. I absolutely adore Alastor's original design, but I had to actually think about how I would design his character, I tried to adjust and emphasize his design to more of my liking. I gave him an average thin build with a little bit of a waist and deer legs. I really wanted to push the deer features a lot more, so I gave him proper deer hooves, kind of like I did for Charlie's. And, of course, I gave him a little deer tail. I kept his usual face and his eyeshadow thing and his monocle. I really tried to emphasize his horns because they are so tiny in his original design. I kept his little hair ears because I thought it was a cool nod to deers. But I fixed his general unfortunate haircut. I made it a bit curlier and pushed back. And like I did with Vaggie, I got rid of the lines in his hair and I made it a gradient. He is holding his microphone. I changed it up a bit because I looked at microphones from the time and I saw these cool circle designs for microphones and I was like, that would be a good fit for this design. I looked at suits from the 1930s and I just copied parts that I liked from each of them. I really liked the common collar that they had, the buttons going down, and the pockets. And the fact that the entire suit is pinstriped. I tried to give him more of a top-heavy, boxy silhouette because that was what was in fashion at the time. Because I ended up taking out a lot of the bright red of his outfit, I gave him a red undershirt with a necktie. Looking back, I wish I added a bit more design into the necktie, but I didn't. Alastor's powers sometimes are green in the show, so I added an X over his forehead to hint at how he died, as well as making the eye in his microphone green. I also gave him a green tie clip. Again, I thought it was cute. I personally like how his design turned out, but to be honest, Alastor is probably one of the hardest characters to redesign because he is just that iconic. And that was my redesigns of the Hazbin cast. I might do the rest of the cast depending on the general reaction to this video, and I do have ideas for it. My designs are far from perfect, and they will never beat the original designs, but I personally like the changes that I made, and I hope you do too. If you like my art, you can follow my Instagram. My @ should be somewhere in the end screen. I hope you enjoyed!